Most people spend their lives focused on the exterior of their success. They want the title, the high balance, and the public recognition, the parts of the house everyone can see. But in a world of high volatility, the look of your life doesn't matter if the structure can't withstand a shock. Jesus used the metaphor of a builder to explain the difference between a life that collapses and one that lasts. He didn't focus on the materials of the house, he focused on what the house was sitting on. This is foundation logic. It is the idea that the most important part of any project, a business, a relationship, or a personal skill, is the part that is hidden underground. In this video, we are looking at the mechanics of long-term resilience. Why do some startups explode and then vanish? Why do some people thrive in a recession while others lose everything? It isn't just luck. It's the difference between building on shifting sand and building on solid rock. We're going to strip away the surface-level advice and look at the engineering principles found in ancient parables that dictate who stands and who falls when the storm hits. The story describes two men building houses. On a sunny day, both houses look exactly the same. They both have walls, a roof, and a front door. The difference is only revealed when the environment changes. The wise man spent the extra time and energy to dig deep until he reached bedrock. The foolish man took the path of least resistance and built directly on the sand. Side-by-side comparison of a house on rock versus a house on sand during a storm. The logic here is about invisible effort. In the early stages of any project, the person building on sand looks smarter and faster. While the wise builder is still sweating underground, digging into the rock, the foolish builder has already finished his roof and is enjoying his life. In modern terms, this is the person who cuts corners, ignores the fine print, or builds a career on hacks rather than core skills. But speed is a trap if it lacks depth. Building on rock is a high-cost, high-delay strategy. It takes longer to start, it's physically harder, and it provides no immediate visual reward. However, the bedrock represents unshakable principles. These are things like technical mastery, financial discipline, and a reputation for integrity. When the sand, the trends, the easy money, or the temporary hype washes away, only those anchored to something permanent remain standing. The parable of the builders doesn't say a storm might come, it says the rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew. In any system, whether it's a global market, a technical infrastructure, or a personal career, crises are not accidents. They are inevitable variables. The logic of the storm protocol is to stop viewing trouble as a surprise and start viewing it as a systematic stress test. A stress test is designed to find the single point of failure. In the story, the storm was the same for both houses. The wind didn't pick favorites. The difference in the outcome was entirely determined by the work done before the rain started. If your business model relies on a single platform or your income relies on a single skill that can be automated, you are building on sand. You aren't unlucky when the platform changes its algorithm, you simply failed the stress test. Modern resilience is about redundancy and depth. Builders who understand the storm protocol don't wait for the crisis to harden their systems. They assume the flood is coming next week. They use the quiet, sunny days to reinforce the foundation, diversify their assets, and simulate failure. When the storm finally hits, it doesn't destroy them. It simply validates the integrity of their foundation while clearing away the competitors who built on sand. The mustard seed, the power of compounding small gains. The mustard seed is described as the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it becomes a tree large enough for birds to nest in. This is the logic of micro-inputs and macro-outputs. In a world obsessed with viral success and overnight hits, the mustard seed reminds us that massive, dominant structures usually start as invisible, microscopic actions. This is the mechanical reality of compounding. Most people quit because they don't see a forest after a week of planting. They expect the output to be linear, 1 hour of work equals 1 unit of result. But real growth is exponential. In the beginning, the mustard seed looks like a failure compared to larger seeds. It is tiny, buried, and seemingly stagnant. However, it is building a root system that will eventually support a massive canopy. The logic here is to focus on consistency over intensity. You don't need a giant tree on day one. You need a high-quality seed and a commitment to the process. Whether it's learning a difficult language, saving $10 a day, or refining a specific technical skill, these mustard seeds are the only way to build something that eventually becomes an ecosystem of its own. If you can master the small, repetitive actions that others find boring, the law of compounding will eventually handle the heavy lifting for you. In this story, a widow seeks justice from a judge who neither feared God nor cared about men. He is a wall of pure resistance. She doesn't have money, status, or power to influence him. All she has is her frequency. She keeps showing up, over and over, until the judge finally gives in just to stop her from wearing him out. This is the logic of high-frequency iteration. In physics and business, resistance is a constant. Whether it's a difficult market, a complex skill, or a gatekeeper, you will hit walls. Most people treat a no as a final stop. But the widow's logic treats a no as a data point in a long-term sequence. She understood that even the most rigid systems have a breaking point if the pressure is constant. This isn't about being annoying, it's about persistence through volume. If you send one cold email, your chance of success is near zero. If you send 1,000, the law of averages takes over. Relentless iteration means you don't wait for the perfect moment to break through. You use the sheer volume of your attempts to wear down the obstacle. The system eventually yields to the person who refuses to stop knocking. When we combine the foundation, the stress test, compounding, and iteration, we move from hoping to be lucky to designing for resilience. Luck is a variable you cannot control, so a builder ignores it. Instead, they focus on structural integrity. If you build a house on rock, it doesn't matter if the storm is unlucky, the house is designed to survive it. Synthesis is about systemic hardening. You start by auditing your invisible infrastructure. You ask, if my main source of income disappeared tomorrow, would my foundation hold? If the answer is no, you are building on sand. You then look at your mustard seeds, the small, daily habits. Are they compounding into a tree, or are you just spinning your wheels? Moving from a victim to a builder means you stop complaining about the wind and start adjusting your sails. You accept that the world is volatile, but you design your life so that volatility actually makes you stronger. Resilience isn't just about surviving a hit, it's about having a structure so sound that a hit barely leaves a mark. A 100-year plan isn't about predicting every detail of the next century, it's about building a foundation so stable that it could last that long. In a world obsessed with 24-hour news cycles and quarterly profits, true success belongs to those who think in decades. This starts with a brutal, honest audit of your current ground. You must ask yourself if you are chasing fast, superficial growth on shifting sand, or if you are willing to do the slow, heavy, and often invisible work of digging down to the bedrock. To rewrite your future, you need to move from theory to mechanical action. First, you must identify your sand. Look for the parts of your life or business currently built on hacks, temporary trends, or single points of failure. Whether it is a fragile income stream or a superficial skill set, you must begin reinforcing it with something structural and permanent. Next, plant your mustard seed. Choose one small, boring, and highly repetitive task, something that seems insignificant today but has the mathematical certainty of compounding over time. Finally, perform a proactive stress test. Do not wait for a market crash or a personal crisis to find your weaknesses. Imagine the worst-case scenario for your current project today and build one specific redundancy to handle it. The storms are a guaranteed variable of nature. They are the universe's way of clearing away what is fragile. Whether you lose everything or stand firm is not a matter of luck, but a matter of engineering. By digging deep and building on the rock, you align yourself with the laws of cause and effect, ensuring that when the environment changes, your structure remains.